Hello, good evening. It is the 16th of July 2023, and this image that I'm probably putting online of myself is not the best angle, as I am filming on my phone. And today's topic, again, sadly, is going to be about mental health and well-being. Over the past few years, I have talked about mental health and well-being. I've talked about it briefly about what it's like to return back to work as a full-time single mum. I've talked about how it can affect people when you're not on the right type of medication, or you've been waiting so long and painstakingly to even be diagnosed with what is classed as a mental illness or any form of illness or disability. So about 2 weeks ago now, it was my 40th. So I just want to give a great big shout out and thank you to all the support that I was given for my birthday, which ended up being a joint birthday with my son, who has autism. And the only way that I honestly thought we would ever get to celebrate a birthday party as a family is if by doing a joint event, and one where everything could be contained in one room on the same day, and toilets were a must, especially for me with my health problem. And I would honestly like to say it did go quite well. It didn't go how I would have liked it to have done. It didn't go how I expected it to go, but it was a good day. And I was very lucky, and I did get support from the local people at Stockingford Pavilion, or the Enlockment Club as it's called locally. And I was able to raise £200 for ovarian cancer support. My aim was to raise £1,000, and unfortunately that didn't happen. Since obviously having my party and the amount of stress I put myself under and the amount of pressure I put myself under, one of the main problems I had was actually managing my medication. I was on so much of a high naturally because I had arranged this event, it'd gone really well. I was so focused on this day that, again, unfortunately, I ended up mismanaging my medication. And it is so easily done. And this is one of the risks, I think, with having an illness or disability where you are dependent on medication is if you mismanage it, sometimes it can be fatal. And with myself with mental health, I don't have bipolar. So what I've been diagnosed with is post-traumatic stress disorder and like multi-personality disorder. It's really weird. I've been branded with all these different things. And if you were to ask anyone who knows me, it's true. I am so different one day to the next. And it's not until you kind of get to know me that people will say, hang on a minute, I'm not trying to be funny, but have you took your medication? And so what ended up happening was I was mismanaging my medication again. I was so excited because I was going to be doing Peter Pan at Christmas with my children, with a local group called Stage Fright. They are an amazing group to be part of. But unfortunately, my mental health, I would like to say it was at breaking point on Friday just gone, but I think it was way past breaking point. The way I was feeling on Friday, I can honestly say I've not felt like that in ages. And I was just at that point in my life where it didn't matter what people did or what people said. I just was so out of control that the father of my children, again, he's had to step in and said, look, stop. You're sick. You need to face as to how ill you really are. So there I was, ringing the crisis team again. And I always say to people, ring them. Don't feel ashamed. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel like you're wasting anyone's time. If you are at that point, at that moment in your life where you feel like, oh my God, I do not want to live anymore. I I'm going to rip the house apart, or however you feel, ask for help. I was so lucky because this time round, the lady I spoke to, she rung me back at something like 8 o'clock the following morning. Usually I don't get a call back until like a week later. And by then it's like, yeah, I rang you a week ago. I've been in hospital. I've had to have medication changed. So are you still needing someone? Are you in a crisis? Well, yeah, a week ago I was, but now I'm fine. So they then put you back to the bottom of the list. This time round, I had to be frank and say, no, I'm sorry. You need to reevaluate me. I cannot have like 24 hours where I'm on cloud 9 and then have 48 to 72 hours where I feel like I am in a black hole and I can't get out. And I feel like I'm drowning, and I feel like I've got weights tied to my feet, and I'm there, and I'm trying to force myself back to the surface any way possible, even if it means cutting my feet off just to get to where I need to be, and that's to breathe. And it is really, really scary to be in that situation. And mental health is something that is not taken seriously. It can affect anyone at any time in their life. People might think, oh, it's just depression. Yeah, everybody gets depressed. Everybody gets upset. Everybody gets sad. Everybody gets angry. Everyone gets lonely. Everybody has all these feelings inside them that, sometimes they don't tell people about, or they try and hide them, or, but at some point, if you keep acting and pretending like everything is okay, you are going to either explode or implode. And again, it's knowing your triggers. I kind of know what my triggers are, but then I don't. And unfortunately, one of my triggers is being around other people that are suffering mental health. Sometimes I'm fine, I'm great, I'm fantastic. And then other times, I'm not. And it is really upsetting and sad that I feel like, again, I've let everybody down. And that, I've promised people that I'll do things, or I've assured people that I'm capable of doing something. And then I can't. I mean, my little boy, he was so looking forward to doing his first Christmas performance with Stage Fright this year. It's going to be Peter Pan. So the moment I know when they are performing, I will take him to see the show that he should have been in. But there was no way that I could go there every week. And there was nothing against anybody that's there. It's just, unfortunately, my mental health and well-being over the last couple of weeks has really got the better of me. And the last thing I want is to be putting anyone in risk or in danger, or, being somewhere and not being able to control my emotions, not being able to, put on that smile and say, yeah, I'm fine, I'm perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with me. Whereas inside, I am just screaming and screaming and screaming. And I feel like there's a monster in my stomach and it's just wanting to rip out, a bit like an alien or something. It's horrible. It's horrible to feel scared about leaving the house or opening the front door, or, having the lights on or even having them off. It's just, I'm in such a strange place right now, and it is so hard to explain to people. Mental health is just, unfortunately, it's one of those things that has such a stigma attached to it, and it's really hard to explain to people. And just because, like, someone might say, oh, I've got bipolar, so it doesn't mean that your bipolar is going to be the same as somebody else's. Or, oh, I suffer with anxiety and depression. That doesn't mean the person next to me or down the road from me that might have also been diagnosed with anxiety and depression feels the same way. one of the things that always frustrates me is people say, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. You're extremely articulate. You know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what you're saying. And it's like, yes, that's because I've had to force myself to be that way, to integrate within society. But just lately, I don't even want to be a part of society. I would want to just bury myself 6 feet in the ground and never have to see anyone again. And the only thing that keeps me going is my children. And I have lost count as to the amount of times I've said to people, if it wasn't for my kids, I probably wouldn't be alive. And that is the worst thing anyone can say. That is the worst thing I can probably admit to on social media. Because now it's like, hey, you know, she's admitted this. I could do her, like, kill her and, you know, and get away with it, you know. And that's why you don't joke about stuff like this on social media. But the one thing I will say is, if you do have a mental health problem, you've got to find that one thing in your life that keeps you sane. That keeps you saying, no matter how I'm feeling on a daily basis, there's that one thing, that little ray of hope, that little ray of sunshine, that little pinhole of light that just happens to shine through. And that's what you've got to focus on. And for me, it's having the ability to wake up every morning and see my children and spend time with them and hear them laughing and enjoying life. But at the same time, you know, feeling like I just don't know. I just don't know how I am supposed to feel. All I know is that at this moment in time, I do feel like I've let so many people down. And at the same time, I know I've got to concentrate on my own mental health and well-being, because nobody else can do that for me. So anyone suffering with mental health, please, please, please seek help. I know it takes forever. It's an absolute nightmare to deal with. But you're not alone, and please don't suffer. Okay? Speak out.